Why did you decide to arrange this conference?
Well, I think the timing is good to start a reflection about the future challenges of Europe. Partly because we have this year election to the European Parliament. We'll have a new Commission. Sweden will chair the European Union during the fall. And the sort of future-oriented agenda of Europe, the Lisbon agenda, will end next year and be replaced by something new. So I think it's a good time to reflect on what we want for Europe's future.
What is very important in this approach, social investment, is its general orientation towards the future instead of looking at the past. If I take my country, most of the expenditure are made for the older generation. Most of the social policy are made to come after a risk, after a problem, whereas with the social investment we try to prevent things to occur, so we interfere before. We try to make people ready for the future, to prepare people, to invest before bad things occur, and if it works well, bad things do not occur, so you don't have to wait for them to occur. So this general orientation towards the future is really something that I think is crucial to reorient and reorganize our welfare systems.
I would think that today the most important for Europe at least is to integrate as many as possible of the people that are in working age into the workforce, and this requires, I think, an increase in their skills in many circumstances, and this I think is probably the most important. How can we get an educational system in all dimensions, from the basic schooling up until research, that really leads to having as many people as possible into the labor force?
Workplaces must become learning sites. This is one of the most important, and here I have shown in recent research that the kind of labor market policy you have is very important. Active labor market combined with the kind of flexicurity model we have had in Denmark. Now it has been somewhat weakened, but this proves to be and also strong, open, democratic education systems. A lot of vocational training are things which promote learning at the job, and it promotes competitiveness and also actually the well-being of people.
I think that we have to make our young people to enter the labor market much earlier, and we have to make our elderly people to stay on in the labor market much longer than they do today.
If we can't handle that, what do you see?
We will have a huge problem how to finance our public or our social welfare states. It will be nearly impossible. Then you have to cut it down.
The most important part of social investment is definitely to invest in children, even in very young children. And here in the Nordic countries we have an advantage in that we have already built up a lot of institutions. We have made them accessible by subsidizing prices for them, and we have to some extent, and perhaps mostly in Sweden, given training to professional carers so that the children get high quality childcare when they're there.
I think the future of social investment depends on tough political decisions and priorities that we need to do in order to prepare for an aging Europe. And we need to secure the future tax base by investing in our children. But to do this in a way that makes it possible for everyone to be included as winners of a sort of prosperous European future.
It's about politics, and I think what is very hard is unfortunately for citizens to project themselves into the future of their children. So one needs either politicians who are willing, able to do that, statesmen, not politicians who are thinking about the next election, because the problem of those is that those are long-term issues and that go much beyond the life of a government. So either you have governments that are able to do that, and also you need groups, whether it's on the side of enterprise, also on the side of labor unions, Yes.
Because this is necessary for our future.
It's necessary for our future, but it's a political problem. So this is what is demanded, that there is a real political debate about the sustainability of our societies.
I think one of the most element strategies which Europe has to reflect on is how it can combine a successful economic strategy for wealth creation in the 21st century, given that we've seen the limits of the financial capital system, we've seen also the limits of the corporate system in some of the other European countries, and combine this, with the social investment strategies, which equips and prepares the society, at large for those kind of strategies. So it's to find an intelligent mix where we can, put our, societies on a more sustainable path, securing the prosperity and the wealth we've created in the past for also the longer term. And I don't think that any of the European countries, has really found an intelligent mix, how it can secure in the long run.
It's the politicians who invented the perspective. It's not an analytic concept, social investment. It's not something that was invented by social scientists. It's something that we found in the political world. Where social scientists come in is in saying to politicians, okay, if these are your goals, then here are the instruments that you have available to you to achieve those goals, and to make sure they keep their eye on the ball, so that if these are your goals, then you better work on early childhood education and ensure that it's of high quality and widely available. Just having babysitters is not going to achieve your goal for a social investment perspective. That's just one example. So that the role of social scientists as they engage in knowledge transfer is to help decision makers, whether they're politicians or bureaucrats, to make the link between the action possibilities they have and the goals that they've identified.
Our children is our future. Some would even argue that the best pension policies of tomorrow is to invest in the children of today. But it's not only for pensions, it's also for social cohesion. If you don't get a society where we all feel that we belong, you get big problems that you have to address in other areas. So if we invest in children now, we may have to spend less on crime prevention and so on later on in 2 decades or 3 decades from now.